Hello everybody, you are listening to the Box Office Brawler. My name is Jackson. Today we're going to be talking about Bob Marley's One Love, starring Kingsley Ben Adir as Bob Marley and Lashana Lynch as his wife, Rita Marley. This movie was directed by Reinaldo Marcus Green, and it is in theaters today, so make sure to check it out if you think I give a pretty good review, and we'll see if I endorse the movie or not by the end of this video. This movie is doing pretty good in the box office right now. It had a budget of $70 million, and as of its first week of its debut, it's made $80.5 million. Before we get into the story and the plot and my thoughts on this movie, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss the next episode. This movie, I have a lot of thoughts about this movie. It's kind of a mix for me. I really like reggae music. I was introduced to reggae music about a year and a half ago. I tend to frequent Battle of the Bands, and they have a reggae theme every once in a while. And that's when I fell in love with reggae. And every time I would mention it to somebody, people would always drop Bob Marley. Bob Marley, Bob Marley, the father of reggae. So of course I had to watch this movie. I'm not really that familiar with Bob Marley, at least before I watched this. And I did some light reading on him as well. But I was immediately fascinated with his character in this movie. He was obviously the forefront of this movie, and I was interested. I was interested in his life, I was interested in his performance, I was interested in his story. And I think this movie did a great job with Bob Marley. I think everything else I wasn't interested in, which is probably what you would expect from a movie about one character and the importance he had in this world. But they tried to they tried to make you fall in love with the family, with his wife, with his band, and I just wasn't interested. And there was a couple too many characters in the mix that I just wasn't able to follow because there was just a lot going on. But the movie jumps all over the timeline too of Bob Marley's life. We're kind of thrown into the mix of him already being kind of famous, at least in Jamaica. Right off the bat, in 1976, I believe is when this movie begins. In the time frame, and he's already pretty famous in there, and we see a lot of different things happen. Starting off though, in 1976, there's political unrest in Jamaica. That's where he's from. That's where his kind of whole music style came from. There's this big political rivalry between these two different political parties in Jamaica, and they're at war with each other. A lot of people are dying. It's a massacre pretty much. And he's doing this giant peace show, and he's going to be performing in front of thousands of people on both sides of the political spectrum. And it's sort of supposed to just unite everybody have a good time, come together, and reflect on his message he has through his music. And the message that he tends to frequent is just love and peace. And that is definitely seems to be the general theme of reggae, which of course are great themes to have in music. And he does so in just a very interesting, exotic, and fun way in the way he performs. It was a lot of fun watching that happen on screen. But I am familiar with a little bit of his music, but of course when you're just listening to music, you don't actually get to see the exciting gestures and motions that he has while he's on the stage. So it's cool getting to see that stage presence represented with Kingsley Ben Adir's performance. But that whole political unrest thing is happening. He's getting ready to perform this big show. This is the main plot of the movie, and the main conflict. And his family and him are back at his nice house. They have guards and everything, and the place gets shot up, and everybody gets really messed up. I don't think anybody died. I'm not completely sure, but he nevertheless he goes through with the show, and he's got a little PTSD when he's on stage. And he shows everybody his bullet wounds, and that's sort of like a statement, and he ends up, he's like, okay, I can't do this, we can't live here anymore, everybody's in danger. He didn't want his family to get hurt, so he moves them. I believe his wife and his kids, they first go to, I think he said Delaware in America, and then he goes to London, and he starts drafting up this big new record album, Exodus. For Bob Marley fans, I'm certain you know about his record Exodus. I wasn't too familiar with it, but definitely a highlight of this movie was getting to listen to all these amazing songs, and Time Magazine titled it the best record in history. And based on some of the music I listened to in the movie, I could see why they would come up with that idea. It's some really, really great music. And that is honestly the best part of this movie, was just listening to these songs and seeing Kingsley Ben Adir's interpretation of Bob Marley, because he was very much so a character, very charismatic, very chill, relaxed, always trying to think positively. He was very optimistic, and he was interested in just making people happy and spreading like a positive message through his music. And that was obviously the general theme of the whole movie and of the reggae music genre, which it seems like he introduced when he toured in America and Europe. So I definitely title him as the father of reggae. But for this movie, I give it a 7 out of 10. I give it a 7 out of 10 because I think it was a little too long, and I think they tried to do too many things with this. They jumped all over his life, mostly obviously the present. Like the present is the 70s, towards the peak of his popularity. It seemed late 70s, and I wanted to see more of his childhood, because I wanted to see more of the upbringing of Bob Marley, getting popular while he was in Jamaica and becoming more famous. But I think they introduced too many characters, and it was just too many cooks in the kitchen, and I wasn't able to get invested, and I wasn't very interested in all the other characters except for him, honestly. So that's why I give this a 7 out of 10. But I would say, you know what, the movie theaters, they're pretty dry right now, and there's nothing really to watch. So if you want to go to the theaters and still have a pretty good time, and it's definitely a movie to relax to and just listen, I'd go check this movie out. So I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Bob Marley, One Love. Check it out in theaters if you're interested, and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.